Absolute Wonder Woman has beef with gods in the underworld. The newest issue in Diana's Absolute series is one of the most phenomenally written and beautifully illustrated comics I've read in an extremely long time. So let's just jump right in and break it down. So the last issue consisted of Diana transforming into a giant Medusa creature so she could destroy the Tetracide upon turning it into stone. But after doing so, she was enveloped in a giant flaming hand and then dragged into the underworld for reasons unknown. And in this issue, we find out that was actually Hades' hand, who immediately upon capturing her, took her into his throne room, expressing how displeased he was with her because she wasn't allowed to leave the underworld. But before they could discuss how she was able to do so and why, he couldn't help but take interest with all of her weapons, ordering her to disarm herself so he could examine what she was working with. Once she had emptied everything out of her magic satchel, we realized that Diana has a blue lasso that we've never seen before. But for whatever reason, the one he was most fascinated by was Nemesis, the red one we've already seen. So he ordered his little minion to bring it to him despite Diana advising against that, which to no surprise resulted in the minion being completely overwhelmed by its power, because when Cersei created the lasso, she made sure that Diana was the only one who could wield it to prevent it from being misused by those with harmful intentions. However, this only piqued Hades' curiosity even more so, demanding Diana to tell her what the lasso was made from. And so Diana took things all the way back to the beginning, saying that when she was a little girl, Cersei would task her with gathering things from around the island. And as she grew older, the items that were asked of her grew more and more dangerous, but they were things that Cersei needed for like spells and stuff like that. But the boldest and most challenging task of all was when she was sent to climb Mount Prometheus, where the Titan Prometheus had been sentenced to stay for eternity. Upon reaching the top, Diana whipped out her axe, began begging for the blessings of the goddesses Themis and Dike, and then offered her blood as a sacrifice to supercharge her axe's power so she could hurl it into Prometheus's bonds and set him free. After that, Diana began to apologize because she didn't have enough power to set him free permanently, but she thought he might appreciate some time away from his shackles, even if it was just temporary. Now, as we all know, Diana is extremely gifted when it comes to communicating and getting through to animals, so shortly after that, she called down this giant hawk who would consistently feed on and pick at Prometheus to be like, hey, look, I know you and your flock get hungry and stuff, but if you guys could stop eating from my friend's body, you can count on me to have your back for all of my days. So boom, Diana relieved him of his shackles and also relieved him of some future pain. But eventually she expressed that her acts of kindness weren't without a little bit of selfishness, confessing that the main reason she was there was to collect a vial of Prometheus's blood to create a powerful weapon of fire and justice. And instead of being upset, Prometheus appreciated the honesty, telling her to strike off the tip of his finger so she could collect what she needed and be on her way, because he knew she had a dangerous journey ahead and wanted to help her as much as he could. In fact, he wanted to help her so much that moments later he used his blood once again to resurrect Pegasus and gift it to her. So yeah, he's the reason Diana has Pegasus, and apparently the reason Pegasus was dead in the first place was because it was betrayed and slain by Zeus. After that, the story brings us back over to present day, where Hades and Diana continue to bicker with each other, and eventually Hades expressed that he could sense another element embedded into the lasso that wasn't Prometheus's blood, something dark and venomous. And so Diana was like, yeah, it's basilisk, to which Hades responded, you killed the last basilisk? Because he was highly skeptical and didn't think Diana was capable of such a thing. But according to her, that was the truth, and the reason she killed it was because not only had it killed a countless number of innocent people, but angry that she was still alive, Zeus sent the basilisk to end her life once and for all. So instead of just waiting around to be killed, Diana figured it'd be better to surprise the beast within its own lair. And this was yet again an extremely brave and courageous decision by Diana, because the basilisk was rumored to be so dangerous that it could kill you just by looking into your eyes. So she was literally forced to blind herself with a magical spell to avoid dying instantaneously. And upon dodging a few of the basilisk's attacks, she reached into her magic satchel, grabbed out a little potion bottle, and then slammed it right next to the basilisk's nose, which immediately sent it into a chaotic frenzy of madness. Because as indicated by Diana, basilisks are highly sensitive to certain smells, and this specific smell was enhanced 10,000-fold, allowing her to charge the beast head on and use her axe to slice its head clean off. The story then goes back over to Hades' throne room, where he expressed that he didn't believe any of the stories Diana was telling him. How could she have made a friend in Prometheus and slain the last basilisk? It was all way too far-fetched in his eyes. But now it was time to put Diana to a real test, a test that would personally resonate with her and truly test her limits when it came to saving those she loved, because Hades had actually captured her mother Circe and restrained her in a massive amount of chains. But sadly, that's when this issue comes to an end. But if you want to see what happens next, let me know in the comments down below.